Imagine this for a moment. You open your computer, type a few words, and within seconds, an AI creates a painting, writes a song, designs a logo, or even writes a story. A few years ago, that would have sounded like science fiction. But today, it's becoming completely normal. And that raises a fascinating question. Can AI actually replace human creativity? Will artists, writers, musicians, and designers still be needed in the future? Or is creativity something that machines can never truly copy? Today, we're exploring one of the most interesting debates of our time, the relationship between artificial intelligence and human creativity.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my buddy Mr. English. I'm really glad you're here today. This is the podcast where you can improve your English naturally, build your vocabulary, and explore interesting ideas through real spoken English. And today, we're discussing a topic that has been generating a lot of debate recently. Can AI replace human creativity? Artificial intelligence is developing incredibly fast. Every day we see new AI tools creating images, writing articles, composing music, and even helping people make videos. Some people are excited about these developments. Others are a little worried. After all, creativity has always been considered one of the most uniquely human abilities. So in this episode, we're going to explore what creativity really is, what AI can already do, and whether machines could ever truly replace human imagination. And as always, if you'd like to follow along while listening, you can download the full podcast script in the description below. Reading and listening at the same time is a fantastic way to improve both your English and your vocabulary naturally. So, let's dive into today's topic.
Over the past few years, AI has gone from being something people talked about in technology conferences to something many of us use in our daily lives. And honestly, the speed of this change has been incredible. Today, AI can write essays, create artwork, generate videos, compose music, and even help people come up with business ideas. Sometimes the results are so impressive that it's hard to believe they were created by a machine. I remember when AI-generated images first became popular. Many people were amazed by how realistic and creative they looked. Some people even started asking a big question. If AI can create art, write stories, and compose music, what makes human creativity special? And I think that's a fascinating question, because creativity has always been seen as one of the things that separates humans from machines. When we think about creativity, we usually imagine artists painting masterpieces, musicians writing songs, filmmakers telling stories, or inventors coming up with completely new ideas. These activities seem deeply human. They're connected to emotions, experiences, memories, dreams, and personal perspectives. But now AI is entering that space. And that's why so many people are debating whether AI is simply a powerful tool or whether it could eventually become a creative force on its own. Before we answer that question, I think we first need to understand what creativity actually means.
Before we ask whether AI can replace creativity, we should probably ask a simpler question first. What is creativity? At first, creativity seems easy to define. Many people would say creativity is the ability to create something new. And that's true to some extent. But when you think about it more deeply, creativity is much more than simply producing something new. Human creativity often comes from personal experiences. A songwriter might write a song about heartbreak. A novelist might create a story inspired by childhood memories. An artist might express emotions through a painting. In other words, creativity is often connected to how we experience the world. It's connected to feelings, relationships, struggles, successes, and even mistakes. And that's what makes human creations unique. Two people can receive the exact same assignment and still produce completely different results because each person brings their own perspective. Now here's where things get interesting. AI can also create new things. It can generate images that have never existed before. It can write stories that nobody has written before. It can compose music that sounds original. So from the outside, AI appears creative.
But is it actually being creative? Or is it simply combining information that already exists in clever ways? That's where the debate begins. Some people argue that creativity is about the final result. If the artwork looks creative, then it doesn't matter who or what created it. Others argue that true creativity requires consciousness, emotions, and personal experience. And if that's true, then AI may be able to imitate creativity without truly possessing it. Honestly, I think that's one of the most difficult questions in modern technology today.
Now, to be fair, AI is already capable of doing some pretty amazing things. In fact, some of the things AI can create today would have seemed impossible just a few years ago. For example, AI can generate artwork in seconds. You can type a simple description like, "a futuristic city at sunset," and within moments, the AI produces a detailed image. And honestly, some of these images are stunning. The same thing is happening with writing. AI can help write articles, stories, marketing content, and even poetry. It can also generate music, create video scripts, and suggest creative ideas for projects. For many people, these tools save a huge amount of time. Instead of staring at a blank page for an hour, they can get inspiration instantly. And I think that's one reason why AI has become so popular. It doesn't get tired. It doesn't run out of ideas, and it can produce content incredibly quickly. In some situations, AI can even outperform humans when it comes to speed and efficiency. For businesses, that's very attractive. But here's something important to remember. Creating something quickly is not necessarily the same as creating something meaningful. An AI can generate 1,000 images in a day, but does it understand beauty? Does it understand heartbreak, joy, disappointment, or hope? Probably not. At least not in the way humans do. And that's why many people see AI not as a replacement for creativity, but as a tool that helps creative people work faster and explore more ideas. In other words, AI might be changing creativity without completely replacing the humans behind it.
Even though AI is incredibly powerful, I think there are still some things it struggles to do. One of the biggest differences between humans and AI is experience. Every human being has a unique life story. We have memories, we have emotions, we have moments that change us. Maybe you've experienced success after years of hard work. Maybe you've gone through a difficult period in your life. Maybe you've fallen in love, lost someone important, or achieved a dream you once thought was impossible. These experiences shape the way we think and create. When an author writes a novel, or when a musician writes a song, they're often expressing something personal. The creation becomes a reflection of their life. AI doesn't have that. It doesn't have childhood memories. It doesn't have dreams. It doesn't feel excitement, fear, disappointment, or hope. Now, AI can certainly write about these emotions. In fact, sometimes it can describe them surprisingly well. But describing an emotion and actually experiencing it are two very different things. For example, an AI can write a poem about heartbreak,
but it has never had its heart broken. It can write a story about overcoming challenges, but it has never struggled through a difficult situation itself. And I think that's an important distinction, because when people connect with art, music, books, or films, they're often connecting with the human experiences behind them. They're connecting with something real. That's why many creative works feel powerful. They're not just information. They're expressions of what it means to be human.
So what happens in the future? Will AI eventually become so advanced that it can replace artists, writers, musicians, and other creative professionals? Honestly, I don't think the answer is completely clear yet. What seems more likely is that AI will become a creative partner rather than a complete replacement. We're already seeing this happen today. Many writers use AI to brainstorm ideas. Designers use AI to create rough concepts. Video creators use AI to speed up editing and production. In these situations, the human is still making the important decisions. The AI is helping, but it's not leading the creative process. And I think that's an important difference. Technology has always changed the way people create. When cameras were invented, some people thought painting would disappear. When computers became popular, some people worried that traditional art would become irrelevant. But creativity didn't disappear. Instead, people adapted and found new ways to express themselves. Perhaps AI is simply the next step in that process. Rather than replacing creativity, it may expand what creative people are capable of doing. Of course, there will also be challenges.
Some jobs may change. Some creative industries may become more competitive. And there will probably be debates about originality, ownership, and artistic value for many years to come. But at the end of the day, I think people will continue to value human stories, human emotions, and human experiences. Because no matter how advanced technology becomes, there is something powerful about knowing that another person created something from their own imagination, struggles, and dreams. And maybe that's what keeps human creativity special.
All right, before we finish today's episode, let's review some useful vocabulary and expressions from our discussion. These are words you'll often hear in conversations about technology, innovation, creativity, and the future. So let's start with the first one. Creativity. Creativity is the ability to produce original ideas or create something new. For example, creativity is one of the most valuable skills in many industries today. Next, artificial intelligence, AI. Artificial intelligence, or AI, refers to computer systems that can perform tasks that normally require human intelligence. For example, many companies are investing heavily in artificial intelligence. And honestly, it feels like AI is becoming part of almost every industry now. Next word, generate. To generate something means to create or produce it. For example, the AI generated an image in just a few seconds. You'll hear this word very often when people talk about AI tools.
Next, brainstorm. To brainstorm means to think of new ideas, usually before starting a project. For example, we used AI to brainstorm ideas for our marketing campaign. And sometimes the hardest part of any creative project is simply coming up with the first idea. Next expression, creative partner. A creative partner is someone or something that helps you develop ideas and create projects. For example, many designers now use AI as a creative partner rather than a replacement. And finally, originality. Originality means the quality of being new, unique, or different from what already exists. For example, some people worry that AI could affect originality in creative work. And that's actually one of the biggest debates surrounding AI today. As always, try not to memorize these words by themselves. Instead, listen for them in podcasts, videos, articles, and real conversations. The more often you encounter vocabulary in context, the easier it becomes to remember and use naturally.
So now I'd like to hear what you think. If AI continues to improve over the next 10 or 20 years, do you think it will ever be able to fully replace human creativity? Or do you believe there will always be something uniquely human that machines can't replicate? Personally, I think this is one of the most interesting questions of our time. AI is becoming more powerful every year, and it's already changing the way people create art, write stories, make music, and produce content. But does creating something impressive automatically make it creative? That's a question I'm still thinking about. So, if you're listening on YouTube, let me know in the comments. Do you think AI can replace human creativity? Why or why not? I'd love to hear your thoughts.
All right, that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed our discussion about AI and creativity, and I hope you learned some useful English vocabulary and expressions along the way. Whether you believe AI will eventually replace human creativity or simply become a powerful tool, one thing is certain: technology is changing the world faster than ever before. And conversations like these are a great way to improve your English while exploring interesting ideas and modern topics. If you'd like to review today's vocabulary or read while listening, don't forget to download the full podcast script in the description below. Reading and listening together can help improve your vocabulary, listening skills, and overall understanding of English. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow the podcast so you don't miss future discussions on technology, psychology, society, and many other fascinating topics. Thank you so much for listening today. Take care, keep learning, keep thinking, and I'll see you in the next episode.